He's gone.
What, John?
There we are.
Okay, we're live on YouTube. Joe, do you want to start things off? Can I call you Joe, or do you prefer to be called the clerk?
It's I think for the town clerk, Mr. Chair. I think for the sake of tonight, you normally allow.
Sorry, Councillor Adams has something to say.
I do, yes. I mean, we are going live. Can we please refer to each other as councillor or town clerk?
Okay.
Chair, you normally do allow members to have their microphones open given the format of the meeting with the debate. I'll share the plans on screen as we get to them, and I will assist you in trying to spot any councillor that wishes to speak. I'll keep an eye on the little window boxes as well.
Okay. Right. Good evening. Thank you for coming. Reminder arrangements for remote meetings. These have hopefully not changed, except that, of course, we are now streaming meetings live since yesterday's Watch and Transport. Apologies for absence. I think you've already said Councillor Michaud Shaw, Councillor McDowell and Councillor Amjad Ahmed.
That's correct, Chair. Yeah, all those three have submitted their apologies to me.
Okay. Declarations of interest. To receive declarations of interest under consideration on this agenda in accordance with the Localism Act. Declarations from members?
No.
No. And from officers?
There are none, Chair.
Thank you. Item 4, public question time and participation. I'm not aware of anybody wishing to speak.
There's nobody, Chair. No.
Okay, thank you. Item 5, minutes for decision. Minutes are asked to approve the meetings of the planning committees held on Tuesday the 10th and Tuesday the 24th. Does anybody have any comments on there before we move to a vote on them?
Councillor Abberton has a hand in the air, Chair.
Yes, Councillor Abberton.
Thank you. I would like to propose that both of those minutes are approved.
Okay. Are you seconding, Councillor Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah. All in favour?
Thank you.
And can I also thank Councillor Adams for continuing the meeting that ended up not being quorate. Okay. Item 5. Members are asked to consider planning applications and comment on the following. Number 1, change of use from an existing educational centre to a religious madrasa. Hold on a second. Basically, I've disappeared again. Just bear with me.
Councillor Abberton has a hand in the air, Chair.
Yeah. Sorry, Councillor Abberton, go ahead while I try and reset.
Thank you very much. The education centre that is there already, it's not that much of a change of use to the religious madras, and I would ask that we approve that, please.
I would second that.
Okay.
Julia.
Can't see you, Councillor Akhtar, but do you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Personally, I don't understand existing educational centre to religious madrasa. What's the difference between the two? And the only concern I have is, you know, when we have these madrasas, we've got one already further down Highfield Lane as well. There's big issue in terms of education classes that they have at certain times of the day with traffic, massive issues. You've probably seen it on Dempsey Street, and I don't know how this is going to be any different. Now, I might get, rebuked for these comments I'm making, from the community, but really, to be honest, that's a concern. If we are going to allow something like that on Highfield Lane, which is busy, how are they going to address that? They have got entrance from the other side, perhaps, if they can come up with some sort of novel idea as to picking up and dropping, but as things stand, people don't take much notice of the road markings, I'm afraid. And I suppose that's not their fault, but that's the way it is.
Okay, Councillor Abberton again.
To be perfectly honest, Councillor Akhtar, it is already an education centre. And I believe that as an education centre, there are people who are dropping off and picking up. I don't believe that this will make a huge amount of difference. If it does, then that is something that could come to Watching Transport.
Yeah, having read the application, it says there's nothing happening at the moment. Nothing has happened either. So I don't know whether these things are happening at the moment or they're not. Judging from the application, they're not. Only thing I would say is on the proviso that, the children that attend these classes shouldn't be dropped off outside the centre or adhere to the road sign or the markings there.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of that road is double lined, isn't it?
On one side, I think.
Councillor Abberton again, then Councillor Adams.
Okay, with your concerns about this, then perhaps we need to talk to the highways in Bradford before this gets passed. However, I would love to know what Councillor Adams wanted to say. She probably knows better than me.
Councillor Adams.
I'm just listening to what Councillor Akhtar is saying, and yes, I appreciate it is an education centre already, but I also get exactly where he's coming from. Maybe we can put something, if we are going to vote to pass it, put something in there about parking and maybe ask what their proposals are for being picked up and dropped off. If we can just put a note to it so that we are then showing Bradford Council that we are concerned about that issue.
Yeah, I think that sounds fine. Can I just come back to you, Councillor Akhtar? You said you weren't aware of the difference between an existing educational centre and a madrasa. I did try Googling that, and basically the difference appeared to be that a madrasa is specifically for Islamic religious education.
Right, okay.
So can we go to a vote on this, bearing in mind what Councillor Adams has already said and what Councillor Akhtar said and what Councillor Abberton has said? Those in favour of approving this with a proviso that we should investigate the likely effects on parking or dropping off and picking up. I'm happy to propose it on that basis. Councillor Adams, I'll second it. All those in favour? I think that's probably unanimous. Again, I can't see Councillor Akhtar.
It is,
I'm going
Chair.
to mess around just in case I lose it. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Number 2, construction of replacement mono pitch garage at the old cowshed, Low Woodhead, Banks Lane, Riddlesden. Any comments on this one?
Oh,
No.
no.
Looking at the plan, there did seem to be room for it, and they're replacing on a like-for-like basis, are they not?
Pretty much.
I personally don't have a problem with this one.
Councillor Adams has a
Councillor
hand.
Adams, yes, I've got you.
I don't have a problem. I mean, I do propose that we go ahead and approve this.
Yep, okay. Can I have a seconder for that?
Yes, me.
Councillor Abberton, all in favour? Okay,
Chair, just a quick second. Councillor Benedini has just joined, and I'm just trying to catch up. My notes aren't as fast as your.
okay.
There we go.
Hello, Councillor Bernardini. Thank you for joining us. Okay, shall we go on to number 3? Part garage conversion to habitable bedroom and associated works. 8 High Pastures, Keighley. Again, any comments on this one? I should say also this is a CLP. Councillor Abberton.
Okay, number 1, what is a CLP?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask that, but you have. So I couldn't answer at this moment, unfortunately, but I can check it. It's
Okay,
presumably, sorry. Councillor Adams, do you have any idea?
No, I don't. I mean, no, I don't. I'm not.
Okay.
okay, so based on the images that we have, I honestly think that is absolutely fantastic, and they've done a beautiful rendition of it. And my feeling is that yes, absolutely approve.
Okay.
Chair, a CLP is abbreviation for a construction logistic plan. So I guess it's how they're going to change the existing garage into a residential bedroom.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So are you proposing that, Councillor Abberton? For
Yes,
acceptance?
yes.
Yeah, I'll second that. All those in favour? Okay. Right, number 4, 29 Staincliff Drive, loft conversion with 2 dormers. For those who are not aware of this, this is part of the new Barrett Beacon Hill estate up North Dean Avenue. I've been up and had a look at it today. Basically, the house has been up 2.5 years, and they're planning a pretty sizable extension, in my view. Any comments?
Can you just go back to the other picture, please, Joe?
It is a corner plot, I should say, so there is room to do it.
Right.
But yeah. Yes, Councillor Adams.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I mean, it may be a sizable extension, but there is the room to go ahead with that extension. Plenty of room. I really don't see a problem with it at all.
Okay, Councillor Abberton.
Okay, so this one came to us before. It came 20-04198. We again said that we had no problem with it. Bradford actually said that the loft conversions were inappropriate because they didn't have any windows in them. They have put the windows in there. I absolutely have no objection with this at all.
Okay, again, I can't see Councillor Akhtar, but do you have any view on this?
No, I'm happy to go with it, with what's been said.
Okay, so
anything, so yeah.
okay, I'll propose this then for acceptance. Seconder, please. Councillor Adams, all in favour? Thank you. Number 5, construction of 2-storey side extension, resubmission 23 Harewood Crescent, so just down from where I used to be. It's a pair of semis, and I had a look at it, and can I say I'm not sure. There's an interesting phrase that's used in one of the reports, and it talks about riparian ownership, which I think from using Latin basically means closeness to water. I can't see that. It's just round the corner from Cuscote Lane. Any comments on this one? Councillor Abberton.
Can I actually say that I think it looks revolting?
You're free to say what you like, yes?
And that's all my comments. I think it looks absolutely dire.
I should also point out that looking at the earlier application, one of the things specifically that Bradford objected to was excessive width of the extension, which in effect virtually doubles the frontage of the house.
Yeah.
I think there's a good case for calling that overdevelopment. It doesn't seem to have modified very much in the revised one, and I'm not particularly happy with it. Again, I've been and looked at this one, and it's the one next to it is nothing like it, if you like. So if you're going to extend this one, talking of street scene, Councillor Abberton again, yeah.
Well, perhaps we ought to propose that this is overdevelopment and domination and affecting the street scene, and that our motion is to refuse.
Did you get all that, Mr. Clark?
I will second that, Chairman.
So overdevelopment, impact on street scene.
And domination.
And domination, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so with those comments, would you like to recommend it for refusal, Councillor Abberton?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I'll second that. All in favour? Sorry, I can't see you, Councillor Adams. Are you?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Number 6, 41 The Chase, Keighley. Construction even of single-storey side extension. And you will see that this is an AA application. They're basically creating a bigger kitchen from what is currently the garage. Any comments on this? Yeah, we've got you.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, nothing wrong with that.
To be
Councillor
perfect,
Abbott.
it is exactly the same as the next door property, what they're trying to do. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, Councillor Adams.
I suggest if that's the case, the precedent's already been set, so I would propose that we go ahead. with it.
Okay, can I have a seconder? Councillor Abberton, all in favour? Thank you. Number 7, 4 Oakbank Crescent, construction of conservatory to the rear. Again, this is just down the road from me, and it sort of sets a precedent, but there are a note here. I'm sorry, I can't quite read my note, but
I think you've got conservatories there already, haven't you, Councillor Walker?
yes, that's my impression. I mean, it's actually a tucked away section. Oakbank, there's 4 roads that run off Oakbank Broadway, all of them running uphill, and this is basically going to be at the back of one of these. I mean, it seems okay to me. Anybody else got any comments?
No, no worries.
I would say that this is fine. and it's at the rear, so it's not impacting on the street scene. I don't think that it is impacting on anybody lower down, because I don't think there are anybody lower down.
Well, they're a long way away, the ones that are, that's all I can say on that road. Yeah. Okay, right, so are you proposing that, councillor Abberton?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah.
I'll second. All in favour? Okay, thank you. Right, number 8, 150 Redcliffe Street, 2-storey side and rear extension. Now, these are the houses up above the main run of Redcliffe Street. I think, Councillor Akhtar, I'm correct in that, aren't I?
Yeah.
In other words, they already have quite a bit of space. Any feelings on this one? Again, to use a phrase that we've used already this evening, there is room to do it. Sorry, Councillor Abberton.
Okay, so where I looked at it on Google, where they're wanting to put this side extension is where they've got all of their bins at the minute. So number one, I'm working on storage for the bins. The other one I'm working on is car parking, because this, if you looked at it on Google, there was a car parked on there, and I'm also quite concerned about the interference to the conservatory of the neighbour, and also I think it's actually rather large, and I'm not really feeling it for them. Sorry.
Any other comments on this? I mean, I take on board everything you've said, Councillor Abberton, and I do have concerns about it as well.
The other thing is it is very, very close to the boundary.
Yeah. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, just to let you know that Councillor Westerman's rejoined the meeting and he has got his hand up.
All right.
No, he's not a member of the committee, but if you permit him to speak.
Indeed. No, Councillor Westerman, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. I'm with the opinion of Councillor Abberton on this one. The size of it isn't in planning that it cannot be greater than 50% of the existing building, and what percentage, what extra percentage will this be? If it's a side
question, you're correct. It is 50%. Yes.
If it is side and rear, it looks as though it's extending it by an extra 50% of the floor space and space of the building already. And bin storage is a very a big thing they're talking about at the moment. They have been for many years. Also, entry to the back of the property in case emergency services have got to get around there in case of fire.
Yes. Yeah.
Just my 2 pence in there, Chair.
That's fine. Thank you for your 2 pence.
Thank you very much, Westerman.
I think we're reasonably agreed on this, that we're going to refuse it. Again, on a number of grounds. I don't know if you have a note of all of those, Mr. Clark.
Yeah, I just lost your sound briefly in that last debate. If you just go over the reasons you're recommending for refusal, if I've got them down correctly.
Councillor Abberton.
Okay. Storage for bins, parking, interference with the conservatory of the neighbour, and overdevelopment, really rather large.
Okay, we could
and
perhaps,
also access to the back of the property for fire and ambulance, etc.
emergency services. Yep, okay. Have you got all those, Mr. Clark? Okay, so
Yep.
on those grounds, I'm proposing we refuse this one. Seconder, please. Councillor Abberton, all in favour? Okay, I'm assuming that's everybody. Right, 214 Bradford Road. Ooh, increase in roof height, front and rear dormer extensions and first floor extension above the garage, first floor rear extension, I'm sorry. There are no bats there, which is probably the good news. Canals have no comment because I don't think it's near the canal. But I'm trying to read my own. No, oh, there is. Yeah, there's a water course that runs between 214 and 212, but there didn't seem to be any concern from the Canals and River Trust on it. Does anybody have any other comments? My understanding is the first floor rear extension. I'm sorry, yes, Councillor Abberton. Didn't see you there.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I've got a little bit of a missive here. Okay, if you look at this property is actually really a very fine looking property. I like it particularly as I've gone down Bradford Road.
Mhm.
However, the fact is that all of the heights of that particular part of Bradford Road are absolutely similar.
Yeah.
They are exactly the same. So the increase in height, I think, is too high. It will affect the street scene. It will be dominant. The whole application is actually too big for this area. They have had extensions, and they're going again.
Mhm.
I think that is way too much. The other thing is that they need a bat survey for the simple reason is that lies within the bat alert layer, which means that they are adjacent to the trees and to the river and of course to the canal further higher.
Mhm.
There are no notifications on the portal. So I believe that the people around have no indication that this is what they want to do. And I'm quite sure that if anybody knew that they are trying to raise the height of that roof by 600 centimeters, it will make a huge domination in that area. What they have done so far, that particular house, is absolutely superb, and I think it should remain as it is. However, those are I think it's overdevelopment. They're trying to go back too far. I would also like to hear Councillor Adams' views on this, because as I know, she knows that area very well.
Yeah, I was going to come in that just before I bring in Councillor Adams. I tend to work not in metric, and 600 mils is about 2 feet, which, given the street scene and the regularity of the other houses, is a major difference. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, I mean, on the face of it, 2 feet, old school 24 inches. or 60 centimetres, which isn't that big. However, I'm just looking at the
It's
photograph.
100 centimetres.
Can you please?
Sorry, carry on, Councillor Adams.
I'm just looking at a photograph of it that Councillor Westerman's kindly sent me, and it's clearly two houses knocked into one to make the one big house. But I think, yeah, it's too much, personally.
Okay.
So I would like to go against this.
Yeah. Right. Again, I can't see Councillor Bernardini or Councillor. I don't know if either of them wants to make.
Councillor Akhtar has his hand up, Chair.
Thank you. Can I just explain, given problems I've had in the past, I'm not going to full view because I may well lose the connection. Councillor Akhtar.
Thank you. I do agree with Councillor Alberton and her views. Street scene, yeah, we're going to set a precedent. Are they going to allow everyone to have these dormer windows? This particular house is already quite large. It's had extensions done, and apparently there's a planning application that was granted for a house in the back garden as well. And on top of that, is there a consultee comments on there, Joe? Can I, if there is, can I have a look at what the consultee comments are?
Just bear with me, Chair. I'll try and bring them up.
Yeah, there were only 5 documents for this one, so.
Yeah.
Joe, can I just say that the Canals and River Trusts have said no comment,
Yes.
and it is the biodiversity that you need to look at, which are the people who are saying that they need a bat survey.
Mhm.
The only two, as Chair, the only two consultee response so far, as Councillor Abington rightly says, are the Canal River Trust and the biodiversity. There are no other consultee responses at this stage.
Can I have a look at the biodiversity response?
Yeah. Can you see that on my screen, Chair, or not? No.
No, I've still got floor plan. Oh, back full screen.
Oh, they're all here.
There's the response. There's the biodiversity team response.
Can't see it yet.
Ah, right.
I have noted you have your hand up, Councillor Westerman, as well.
Right, we advise that. All right. So
Yeah,
I thought there are
that's
bats.
sorry. Just to interrupt everybody, the last sentence is the one that I remembered. We advise there is a reasonable likelihood of a European protected species being present in this case.
Yeah. So that means they're saying there are bats around there or in there. So
Certainly likely to be, yes.
So going with that one, with what we've been given, we can't really say yeah to them, can we? Because they're saying they'll refuse planning if there is.
Yeah.
I would agree. Councillor Westerman, did you want to come back in?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Can you hear me okay this evening?
Yes,
Right.
you must be sitting somewhere different, but yes.
Yeah, right. I'm the ward councillor for this ward. It actually falls under Morton and Sandbeds. And I did speak to quite a few people about this property when they were when the original plans went for extensions they've had in the past and other work they've had done. And yes, that was one big thing that was realised about bats. And this came from neighbours either side. They can sit out at night and they can see the bats just flying around at night. So there is bats around there. And right across to the, I call it the Marley bypass, right across there, the trees and stuff, and there are 2 little old farmhouses that's round the back. There's a lot of bats around there. And as ward councillor for this ward, I do believe that this was one house, not 2 houses knocked into one originally. And the size of it is, if you're talking about an extra 600, well, it's 600 centimetres high, an extra 600 centimetres.
600 mils.
Oh,
Yeah.
600 mil. Well, 600 mil, right? Yeah, 2 foot. But then you've got, if you look at the roof layout of it, you know, there's going to be a hell of a lot of work done just for 600 mils. And I do believe that it would go higher than that. Nobody's going to take all that roofing off just for an extra 2 foot, because there's nothing to be gained with just an extra 2 foot. And then you've got the dormers on top. You know, I, as ward councillor, would ask the committee to refuse this plan.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Councillor Westerman. Right, the proposal, I think, from all of us is that we're not happy with this. It's overdevelopment. There's also the contentious issue of possibly having to have a bat survey and there being the presence of bats. Anything else anybody wants to add before we go to the vote? Councillor Abberton.
Thank you, Chair. I think that we ought to actually put on here that there is no notification on the portal. So I don't believe that the people around know that this is what they're intending to do.
I think if you take that line, and again, I'll defer on this to colleagues with more experience, how would we go about doing that? And perhaps if I bring the clerk in as well.
Chair, I'd imagine the notice hasn't been uploaded onto the portal. Obviously, there is a legal requirement for the planning authority to consult neighbouring properties. I will ask the question of the planning officers, but I think it will be an oversight that they haven't uploaded the actual notice. But I will raise the planning officer and I will come back to the committee.
Okay, thank you. Everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
So on the grounds we've already said we're recommending refusal for this, I will propose. I have a seconder. Councillor Abberton, all in favour of refusing? Okay, thank you. Right, number 11. Sorry, no, number 10. 9 Valley View Close. Just across the road from me, 2-storey side and single-storey rear extension. I think, if I can pick your brain, Councillor Abbott, I think this one's been to us before, has it not? A few months ago. The thing with this one is, although there's probably room to do it, the one thing in its favour, I would say, is that the house above it on Valley View Close, number 7, is actually considerably higher. So that sort of, in a way, shields whatever development goes in there. Anybody else have any comments on this? Councillor Abberton, you waving or joining?
Okay, so looking at number 9, I don't think we've had this before. Number 11 is not higher.
No, I'm talking about number 7, the one above it, as you go onto the drive.
I think that is, as you come down there, it's actually elevated itself, because I think that's quite a sweep down.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's actually why it looks higher, because it's actually further up the hill. This one, the concern that I have with this one, it is right up to the boundary fence. There is a public right of way next door to it, but this is right up to the boundary fence, which I find really quite difficult to there doesn't seem to be any way to get to the back of the house other than jumping over onto the public right of way. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say.
No, that's fine. I appreciate what you're saying. Yes,
I apologise.
it's basically a section of unmade road that is to go down to at least one garage. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, can I just ask if the town clerk can put the view of the boundary again, please?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Councillor Adams, you're still.
Do we know it's actually a right of way, a public right of way? Or does the land actually belong to that house?
Councillor Abberton.
Thank you very much. If you see where the red line is, and then you see the next property, which is just the black line, yeah, that indicates the public right of way. And Joe, there is another map on there, on the portal, that actually shows that it is a public right of way. I think it's in the location plan. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that's the one, Chair. That is the location plan that we've got.
Oh, sorry, that's the location plan. Then in that case, it might be in the plot plan or whatever it is. But there is one in there that says that that area beyond the red line is a public right of way.
Is this, are you thinking of the same one which actually, and Councillor Weston will understand this, shows the turning circle that's no longer there?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It is there, Joe.
I'm just looking, Chair. I'm still looking. Sorry, Chair.
It's all right.
I'm just wondering if we should maybe move on to the next one and come back to this at the end.
I've found it, I think, Chair. Just bear with me.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you.
There you go.
There you are. Footpath, public right of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see on there the boundary line, which is fenced.
Yeah,
it's right up to
it's
that.
very, very close. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Joe.
So based on that, do we think this is getting very close to the limits and that we're not happy with it? Sorry, I'm trying not to lead the witness, but
Yep.
yeah, I'm not happy with this one. I think certainly on the grounds that it's very, very close to a public right of way. Councillor Abberton.
Thank you. I would like to move that we refuse this as it is right up to the boundary. It is over development and there is no access to the back of the property.
Okay. On that basis, unless anybody has anything else to add to it, do you have a note of those, Mr. Clark? Okay, so let's move to the vote. Councillor Abberton, would you like to propose that for refusal then? I'll second. All in favour? Again, I can't see everybody, but I assume that's unanimous. Number 11, Netherton, Rivet Grove, Keighley. Demolition of existing garage and construction of new detached garage with new room at lower ground floor. I was hoping that Councillor Das would have been here tonight to discuss this one, because I think I'm right in saying this is the one where the proximity to the next garage is very, very small. And the suggestion is that it would be a much better job to demolish and rebuild rather than trying to work within restricted limits. Any comments on this one? Sorry, Councillor Abberton.
Thank you very much, Chair. This is actually within my ward. It is, as it stands, it's a very nice garage, but I don't think that it will stand for very much longer. I think this is an absolutely excellent way of dealing with the problem. The way that they have given all of the photographs that they have is absolutely superb. So what they're actually proposing to do is to have a garage on the top and then a garden room at the bottom. This is a very, very steep sloping area of my ward. I personally think this is absolutely superb, and I would really like to propose that we accept this one.
Yeah, I was going to mention the fact that there were a significant number of excellent photographs showing an awful lot of corrosion and cracking away. And if the advice is that the best solution is to demolish and build again, then I'm totally in favour of that. I'm happy to propose that for acceptance.
Sorry, I particularly liked the fact that they were intending to demolish and then build from the bottom up. That I think is going to make it so much better, and really make it all work fantastically well, I think.
Okay, so I'm happy to propose that. Seconder?
Chair, Councillor Akhtar has his hand in the air.
I'm sorry, Councillor Akhtar.
Thank you, Joe. Chairman, I'm just trying to say I'll second Councillor Abberton's proposal to pass it.
Okay, that's fine. So proposed and seconded, all in favour? Again, I can't see everybody, but okay. So that is approved. Number 12 of 16, Hilltop House, Hilltop Road, Oakworth. Extension and conversion of existing garage to form dependent relative annex. I've got some things to say on this, but I'll throw it open for discussion first. Keep going. One more turn, please, Joe. Sorry, Mr. Clark. Right. Is everybody familiar with where this is? Councillor Abberton, do you want to come in first? Entirely up to you.
Well, I do know where it is.
I thought you would.
I honestly have no objection to this one at all. It is for a dependent relative. The other thing is that they have talked about granny annexes. It will be within the curtilage of Hilltop Farm, as long as that is going to be a single family occupation. Other than that, if they try to sell off the granny annex type thing, then it would become an independent unit.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the way that I understand it, and I would very much like to approve that.
Right. Just before we go to a vote, my understanding is that on the refusal notice from Bradford, they said it was a difficult junction because it's opposite Hillside Avenue in Oakworth. It's going up a hill. It's in effect a muck road going past the funeral director's Lyndon Leeson's on the corner. And they said it was likely to lead to intensification of traffic use. The young lady in question has cerebral palsy and is driven everywhere. So on that ground alone, Bradford's judgment is completely wrong. I'm happy to say that.
Yes.
It has also been discussed as to whether or not the Granny Annex counted as an extra development. And again, there was information in all the reports for this application saying that in fact it is within the main building, as Councillor Abberton said, within the curtilage. So I'm very happy to offer this one for acceptance, stressing that traffic is, I mean, yes, there are issues with the crossroad there of sorts, but this isn't going to change that at all. So I'm happy to propose it. Do you wish to second, Councillor Abberton, or do you want to speak again?
No, I would like to second. Thank you very much.
Okay, so all those in favour of accepting this on the grounds that there is no effect on traffic, no additional effect. Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Right. 3 more to go. West Barn, this is number 13 of 16. West Barn, High Hollins Farm, Hollins Lane. Detached garage outbuilding to rear of dwelling. Okay, again, any comments? Councillor Abberton.
I'm sorry, yet again, it's actually in my ward. I do believe that they actually need the detached garage. They need to have space to store their equipment for the farm. I think it is an absolutely delightful presentation there. And the fact is that if Bradford decline it, then I would suggest that they come back with a recommendation from the police to say that this is actually necessary. There are an enormous amount of thefts of quad bikes, tractors, diesel, all sorts of things. And I would say absolutely yes.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments before we go to a vote on this one? In which case, would you like to propose this one, Councillor Abberton?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much, Chair.
Could I have a seconder? Councillor Adams, all in favour? Thank you. Right. Number 14 of 16, 233 Queen's Road, single storey extension to the side. Okay, any comments on this one? I can't see anybody, but
Oh, there's nobody, Chair.
There is.
Councillor Abberton. Yes.
I'm really sorry. I sound like I'm just pathetic. Okay, so number one, we've got the existing. We've got the application, so I do actually know what they want to do. They want to make a garage, but we have no proposed document. We have no idea whether or not it's going to be a pitched roof, a flat roof, or anything. So unfortunately, I can't comment really now.
I think the other thing that I would add to that is, because there were so many applications, I made a note of how many documents there were. This one has 3, one of which I assume is the application form.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of detail here at all, is there?
No.
Any other comments? Because my feeling at the moment is we need further information on this one.
No.
Is the sorry. No, go ahead, Mr. Clark. Anybody else wishing to speak on this?
I think Councillor Akhtar has his hand up.
Councillor Akhtar?
No, actually, I didn't. But however, I think they have always had a little sort of car parking space there, carport type of thing. So all they're going to be doing is make a garage. And even if it's a pitched or the other way or whatever, would that make a difference, material difference to, you know, how we're going to decide? I don't think it will.
Probably not. Councillor Adams?
Yeah, I mean, as Councillor Akhtar says, they've got a carport anyway. Surely it's better to have a garage than a carport. It's something safer. The space is there for it. And I don't think it's our real concern what it's, you know, what sort of roof it is. As long as it is within planning regulations, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I think it was further clarification that Councillor Aberton was speaking about, but would you like to carry on, Councillor Aberton?
I'd just like to propose that we move forward with this, and I would recommend it for approval.
Okay. Sorry, did you want to speak again, Councillor Aberton?
To be perfectly honest, I would not be comfortable in moving this forward until we actually have the proposed documents. I'm sorry.
Right. I think I'm right in saying Councillor Adams has already said that she would propose accepting this. Do I have a seconder for that?
Councillor Akhtar, Chair.
Okay, so
No, can I just ask, on the application, is there no measurements on there as to the dimensions of the garage? No? No. All right. Well, in that case, I suppose we can't really decide on it because we don't know how high it's going to go and whether it's going to be overbearing, it's going to be shadowing or anything. So if there are no dimensions, which is a bit surprising because they should have had in there what they're going to make it with and how big it's going to be, kind of thing.
Yeah, Councillor Aberton.
Sorry, Chair.
That's all right.
They do actually say what they're going to make it of. It's going to be within the remit of what they have. But
yes.
I don't see the dimensions properly. Sorry.
Councillor Adams.
Can we carry on scrolling down, please? Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Chair, I think my only advice to you would obviously is one of your remits, but when forming your response to applications, is to consider the impact the application would have on the area. If you don't know the exact design of what the garage could look like, you can't really pass a comment. Obviously, you know what's going to be made of. It's going to be made of concrete and render. But you had a proposal which Councillor Adams has made to approve. That hasn't been seconded yet, but if you second that, we can have a vote.
Right. Do we have a seconder for approving this?
Well,
Is
somebody
that-
can always make an amendment or to do something different if that's the case, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Abberton.
Thank you, Chair. So my amendment would be is that once we have seen the proposed elevations and floor plan of the proposed garage, we would probably wish to accept.
Yeah. Can I sort of,
Proviso of
Yeah.
getting those plans, because honestly, I mean, I think it's great to have a garage rather than just the car outside. And I totally agree with Councillor Adams on that. We know how it's going to look, but we didn't know whether it's going to be a flat roof or a pitched roof or this or that. And that's the only thing that I have a problem with.
right, with Councillor Adams' permission, could I suggest that based on what Councillor Abberton has said, there is insufficient information for us to make a decision on this, given that there are no specific details of the style of it or the dimensions, and we would refer this one back. Do I have a seconder for that?
No.
Sorry. Okay. Councillor Abberton.
Okay, so what my proposition was that possibly we refer back to the planners and say, can we please have the proposed documentation, at which point we will probably agree. So we're not saying no.
Yeah.
But we just want to see that proposed documentation.
So what you're basically saying is Councillor Adams's proposal, but with the proviso that we need more information to.
For the actual proposed look. Yes.
Is everybody happy with that? Councillor Adams, are you happy with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's move to a vote on this then. So Councillor Adams proposed, is there a seconder for that amended, if you like? I'll second. All in favour? Okay, anybody against? Thank you. Last but one, 19 Redcliffe Grove, 2-storey side and rear with part single-storey rear extension. Any views on this one? I mean, again, it seems to me that they do have the space to do this. It's in the sense that it's a different angle to properties around it. I don't think it's necessarily a problem with it. Councillor Abberton.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so I've actually had a look at the floor plans, and particularly the first floor plan proposed.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with getting into bedroom 4.
Okay. Yes. It doesn't show the rope ladder at all, does it? But, there seem to be a lot of solid walls around it. Yes.
Yes. So basically, I feel that the plans appear to be a trifle ambiguous, and that's all my comments. You know, I know they have the space and everything, but honestly, you can't get into bedroom 4 unless you're Santa.
I don't see a chimney, but yes, okay. Any other comments on this one?
Councillor Adams, Chair.
Councillor Adams?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the point. I'm just wondering whether, although no, it can't have been. I was going to say whether the door has just been missed off, but it's coming from a bathroom, isn't it? So it appears two bathrooms next door to each other. So I think actually Councillor Westerman's got his hand up as well. I'm not sure whether.
Well, if he has, please speak.
Thank you, Chair. Looking at this side and rear extensions, is this again above the 50% size, you know, of the original property? Is it over development size-wise?
It's fairly close, isn't it?
Well, it looks to be well over it, regardless of how much land they've got. If they're extending the original building above 50% of what they've got, that once again looks like the same as the Redcliffe Street one, oversized. I know I'm not committed, but looking at these, and if it's oversized, if we can't make rules for one and one for rules for another person, if we're refusing one for oversized, we should be refusing this one for, well, the committee should be refusing this for oversized. It's a level playing field, Mr. Chair.
We need to be consistent. Yeah. I have thought of a possible solution for getting into bedroom 4, but it would involve using the window, so probably not. On the point, sorry, Councillor Akhtar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to let Councillor Westman know, actually there is no such rule, by the way, 50%. If you ask Bradford Council, they'll tell you there is no such rule that exists. And it's only on individual cases that we decide, and it's nothing to do with 50, 60 or 70%. There is no percentage mentioned anywhere in the guidelines.
That shows how long ago I was last on planning. But they must have changed the rules.
You're quite right. We did get that figure a long time ago and sort of used that as a guide. But I remember being on planning training, and that question was asked and said there's no such thing as that in our rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just individually, it's other planning issues like overbearing, shadowing, this, that, and the other, privacy. So all those things combined with what you think. And obviously overdevelopment is, if something is only like so small and you make it that big, then obviously that is overdevelopment in a way. But once again, if you do that, if you have the space and there are no sort of consequences for the surrounding, you can do that.
Can I come back on that before Councillor Westman responds? The point he was also making was, well, he called it a level playing field, but consistency is what we're after here. If one is judged as being overdevelopment, then is this in a similar position? Councillor Westerman, do you want to come back? No, right. So can I have a proposal for this as to whether or not we accept it? Again, I can only see myself, Councillor Akhtar.
Councillor Adams has put a hand up.
Okay.
I'd actually propose that we refuse it on the basis of the problem with bedroom 4, because that's not, it's not viable. It would be a safety issue as well. If you're going to climb in through the window every day to get into the bedroom, and at the moment that's the only way you can get in, then, you know, I think we need a little bit more information.
Indeed, yeah. So you're proposing that we now refer it back at this stage to planners?
Back and request further information regarding
Exactly, yeah.
configuration of the bedrooms.
And
Mr. Chairman, I could go with that. I'll second that, yeah.
And thank you to Claire to Councillor Abberton for pointing that out. Yeah, so we refuse it, refer it back to planners on the grounds that it doesn't seem to be a clear layout at first floor level, particularly bedroom 4. Yeah, okay, so Councillor Adams proposed, Councillor Akhtar seconding. All in favour of refusing this one? Sorry, referring back, I do beg your pardon. Yeah, all in favour? Yeah. Okay, and the last one. 29 Worth Avenue, front and rear dormer windows. And this is off Airworth Road, Airworth Street, near Marley. Any comments on this one? Didn't look to me to be a major problem with it, but any comments?
Councillor Abberton.
Okay, Councillor Abberton.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay, so front and rear dormer windows. Having had a look on Google on Worth Avenue, I believe this would create a massive precedent. There are no dormers to be seen in this particular location. I find it incongruous that they have dormers in this particular location, and so my motion would be to refuse. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, any other comments before we go to a vote? But I think we need to be mindful of the fact that if this is setting a precedent, we always need to be careful about that. So,
Councillor Adams, Chair.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite the opposite actually. I don't see a problem with the dormers on there. I really don't. If we're setting a precedent, we're setting a precedent. But if it's going to give somebody more space, I haven't got a problem with it. That's just my view, though.
Okay, so we have what might be termed a difference of opinion on this. Councillor Abberton, you were first. You're proposing refusal of this on the basis that it sets precedent than no other dormers. Am I correct?
Yes, you are, Chair.
Can I ask if anybody is willing to second that? Again, I can only see 4 people, Mr. Clark, so if you can help me out.
There's nobody, Chair. It's it's nobody else.
Right. I think that probably, as Councillor Adams has said, a precedent is just that and has to be the first one to establish that. I'm not happy with the overall design of it, but that's just a subjective view. So my suggestion would be that we go with Councillor Adams and accept this.
Well, can I just make a little point? But I actually propose that we do go ahead. I think you need to ask for a seconder first.
Indeed, yes. Sorry, is there a seconder for accepting it?
Councillor Akhtar.
Yeah. Okay, so the proposal now is to accept this final application. All in favour of accepting?
That's
Any
three. Three. Yep, that's passed, Chair. Three voted. So that's fine.
Did we have anybody voting against?
Yes, me.
Councillor Abberton. Okay, thank you. That completes the 16. If I don't get another chance, can I thank Councillor Westerman for attending and making very helpful comments on several of the applications. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, you didn't ask if there was any abstentions, and I just noticed that unless I missed Councillor Bernadine.
Sorry, were there any abstentions, Mr. Clerk?
Councillor Bernadini.
Okay, yes, thank you for that, Councillor Adams. Right, section 2, and for your information, Mr. Clerk, Sarah did ring me up today and we sorted out the difficulty I was talking about. Applications granted, these are just for noting. Applications refused.
Councillor Abberton has a hand up.
Oh, so she does. Councillor Abberton.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, Mr. Clark. I would just like to ask if it would be at all possible for the office to, where we have these applications granted and the applications refused, would it be possible to work out and put into that table what Bradford's response has been and why they've agreed things that we have said no to, and why they have granted things that we have said no to? And do you understand what I mean? Could I possibly come and talk to you perhaps, Mr. Clark, and indeed the chair, and just so that we actually have this information so that we actually understand why Bradford are granting various applications or refusing various applications, because I find it really quite weird.
Yeah, interestingly enough, this was part of the conversation that I had with Sarah Cusack today before this meeting. I had misread a little bit of what was on here, but certainly there do seem to be a number of occasions, Councillor Westerman smiling, there's a number of occasions when we pass in good faith applications which later get rejected by Bradford. I would certainly be happy to come or to have a meeting with the clerk and also with Councillor Abberton. Councillor Adams.
Yeah, I'd just like to, whilst I think, yes, it would be wonderful, I also think it's not our concern. Once it's gone to Bradford, it's out of our hands. It's nothing to do with us. We've put our point forward. We've said our reasons for refusing or proposing or referring or deferring. We've armed them with the information. I'm presuming we do arm them with the information, Mr. Clark, of why we're doing it. It is then Bradford have the ultimate decision. And I don't think we're in a position to be asking, you know, what are your reasons and wherefore? But I think it could cause a little bit of animosity if we're not careful.
Okay. Sorry, just before you come back, Councillor Abberton and Councillor Ahmed as well. Councillor Westerman first, please.
Thank you, Chair. On the applications granted, I noticed number 3 says reject. Council's response, reject.
Indeed.
Yeah, Chair. So just for clarification, so under applications granted, these are applications which Bradford have approved. What we did, you asked us to include what your committee response was. So you, in your response, you suggest that application should be rejected, but Bradford granted it. So there's that last column is your response to the application when you considered it.
Mm-hmm.
Chair, what I was going to say, I've listened to what Councillor Abberton said, and this is a case of what we've always said in council. It's called the advise and decide debate. A clerk would advise the councillors and we decide to take his advice. We are advising Bradford and them are taking our advice, and it's up to them to decide to go with it or not. It's the old advise and decide debate, and you'll find that 9 times out of 10 you may lose that debate, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Ahmed, I think you were next.
Hi there, good evening. Sorry, I'm late. I'm just at work. I think I'll just, is this regarding, what's the word? You know, the outcome of the applications and asking Bradford Council as to, you know, what the reason for and against. And I think that's a good idea because, you know, one of the issues, I think, you know, like sometimes we might be for it and they're against it or vice versa. And I think we need to know why, what the reasons for refusal or passing it is, and then, you know, I think maybe then that can gives an insight as well onto, you know, what we need to be following as a structure, because, you know, sometimes, like you said, anything at the last meeting, sometimes what happens is, you know, there's 3 or 4 that we've kind of either passed and they've rejected, or we've rejected and they've passed. So I think, you know, a little bit of feedback from Bradford Council, I think that would be good.
Trying to tie all that together. Sorry, Councillor, did you wish to speak?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much. I do agree with what Councillor Abbotton is saying. However, I don't think it's possible for the office to put in there what they've actually, on what basis they've decided to grant this, because obviously that's where the decision note is. If you do want to check further into it, why they've given it, you'd have to go to the application and portal, and you can read their decision slip and the notice and what policies and guidelines they've actually used. It's not just what I want to do or what I think should be done. They do follow policies and guidelines, DPOs and all sorts of different things, yeah? What I would prefer, right, if the office could entertain that, arrange with Bradford planning officer or somebody to have a training session with our town council and a planning committee in particular, and then we could actually use these applications as a guide as to, you know, what the reasons that you actually voted for this, and we actually, and they'd be able to tell us and guide us and obviously educate us further, because they're the planning authority and obviously they've got the expertise and the knowledge and we don't. And so that's the way I would move forward with this, because I don't think the office can do that because it'd be too much for the office. What they're actually doing currently, I think, is quite good. And yeah, that's my suggestion, that we get a training organised with Bradford Planning.
I think that's, can I say, a very pragmatic solution, and I think that covers everybody. Councillor Abbotton, did you want to come back again?
Yes, please. Councillor Akhtar, what an absolute superstar you are. Absolutely, yes. What a great idea. Absolutely superb. And if I can help in any way, I will. The other thing is the interim. If Mr. Clark, you would like me to go through some of the applications granted and refused, and to put in a little synopsis of the reasons why Bradford have refused, then I'd be very happy to do so, if you would like me to do so. And you too, Chair. Sorry.
Okay.
Chair, I can always circulate that with the papers. Also, that's fine. That no issue with that whatsoever. Just a couple of points to make. Sometimes the reason I probably wouldn't be able to do the information on the agenda is sometimes a decision can run to 3 or 4 pages, and the reasons why can be very, very detailed. What I am trying to do is we are now recording all applications that we get in, and we are recording what your response is and what Bradford's outcome is. And I will be able to come to you hopefully sometime in the near future with what our, if you like, our percentage success rate is. So what success rate are you having in terms of when you suggest approval? It's only a figure, but I'm trying to give you a guide as to where I think you're going. And that's one of the reasons why we now have a performance indicator around our responses to applications. You know, we have a target to hit that 90% of applications should be decided by members and not under delegated authority. So it's a work in progress, but I think what Councillor Akhtar has said is doable. And if Councillor Aberton does want to do a bit of homework, I'm more than happy to share that with members as part of the agenda.
Okay, just before we move on, just a couple of comments. The town mayor and I both spoke at a recent regulatory and appeals meeting, a Zoom meeting, obviously, in favour of relocating the Aldi store in East Parade. I thought we made quite a good case. What has happened with that one, for information, is that it was deferred and it will now be discussed again following talks with Aldi at the January regulatory and appeals meeting, which I intend to go to. I think probably the mayor will as well. Right, okay. If we can move on now, applications refused. Oh, one thing I did want to say, Mr. Clark, when I spoke with Sarah Cusack today, I did suggest that possibly in place of the fourth column being councillor's response, we might put KTC response. And then that makes it altogether clear that we're saying it rather than Bradford saying it, or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm conscious we're getting near to 8 o'clock, so we'll carry on. One application withdrawn. Other planning matters, there are none. Item 7, delegation of comments on planning applications. None. Item 8.
Just on item 7, just a word of warning. Your next meeting is on the 22nd of December. It's then 3 weeks until your next meeting after that.
Yes.
In your scheme of delegation, you have a limit of 16 applications to be considered by committee. We're already up to 7 applications and we're still 2 weeks out. So your next agenda may be particularly busy because you've got to try and get 2 meetings worth of applications through, because your next one won't be until middle of January. So you might want to bring your mince pies next time.
1.5 meetings, yeah, but basically, yes. If there are time constraints on particular applications, then I think you and I need to get together and decide on those, and then suggest to committee that that's what we do. Right, item 8, pre-application consultation for decision. Again, none, I think. Town plan, as on previous agenda, I think this is just for noting at this stage, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, date and time of next meeting, a fortnight today, Tuesday the 22nd. Just to pick up on what the clerk has said, the reason we've gone to a 3-week break is again because of a potential clash with P&G, which several members of this committee are also on. The one good thing is that first meeting of the new year should bring back into play councillors Shaw and Shaw, because that then fits with their rota again. So can I thank everybody for attending? I think it's been a useful meeting. Thank you all for your contributions, and we'll see you in a fortnight.